Jim Edwards here, down on the ground in Brooklyn, New York City. It is 5 minutes past 5 in the morning, and what a day it has already been. We've already had 5 hours so far, but what an incredible 5 hours it's been. So Conor McGregor is currently in the 78th precinct jail here in Brooklyn. He has turned himself in at 10:30 last night following the incident that happened yesterday at the UFC 223 Media Day. We now know that he's been charged with three counts, two assault and one criminal mischief, and he will later be having them heard by a judge here in Brooklyn. The latest from the NYPD spokesperson that has spoken to us and several other reporters is that this will again begin moving in around 2 hours. So around 7 a.m. local time here in New York, and that's going to be about 12 midday for you guys back in the UK. So let's recount how we got here. So I arrived here in Brooklyn on Monday. It was a pretty quiet day, but then on Tuesday, that's when things very much started to get interesting. I was at the Fighter Hotel at the time when this happened. Artem Lobov, Conor McGregor's teammate, who was supposed to be fighting Alex Caceres here on the card in Brooklyn, was confronted by Khabib Nurmagomedov at Fighter Hotel following an interview that Artem had done earlier in the week, where he said some obviously bad things about Khabib, and he confronted him in the hotel. Khabib at the time I saw had a large entourage with him, and it was a very kind of intimidating confrontation. Anyway, I believe yesterday, which was Thursday here in Brooklyn, Conor McGregor and around 20 or so of his entourage from Ireland flew across the Atlantic into New York. And we had just finished up filming at the media day. The fighters had just finished off their stare downs, and included in that was, of course, Khabib Nurmagomedov. Those fighters were then led down into the bowls of the arena via an elevator, where they were being taken to the coaches, where they were going to be transported back to the Fighter Hotel, which is the Marriott Brooklyn Bridge here in Brooklyn. So during this time, as they're making their way down that elevator, so they enter the building, and as they entered, they were obviously causing quite the scene, and they were instructed down to where the fighters had just left to get onto those coaches. So Conor McGregor and his entourage, around 20 people. There was a video of that I posted yesterday. You can see them entering the elevator that the previous fighters had just done before. So what we know from there, and what we're putting the pieces of the puzzle together now, is obviously the people that shot video from inside those buses as they were leaving the arena, and also the cameras that were visible outside. And what appears to have happened, and there's a video showing this, that Conor McGregor threw several objects at the team bus that was carrying Khabib Nurmagomedov. Unfortunately, there were other fighters on that bus, and the likes of Michael Chiesa and Ray Borg, I'm afraid, got caught up in the fracas, and unfortunately some of the broken glass from the objects that Conor McGregor hurled at that bus cut Michael Chiesa on the face. Unfortunately, we now have 3 fights cancelled from UFC 223 tomorrow. Michael Chiesa versus Anthony Pettis is no longer going ahead following intervention from the New York State Athletic Commission, who said that Michael Chiesa was not allowed to fight. Ray Borg versus Brandon Moreno has also been cut off that card following what happened yesterday. Dana White spoke to ESPN and MMA Junkie immediately afterwards, and then informed them Artem Lobov had also been removed from the card in his fight with Alex Caceres following his involvement in that fracas yesterday. So following that event, several things happened. Dana White was saying allegedly that Conor McGregor was already in jail, but that was incorrect. He turned himself in at about 10:30 p.m. last night, and now we're kind of awaiting, I guess, the repercussions from that all. Now, what we need to bear in mind is those 3 charges are currently pending, and they will be read by a judge this morning. But from what I'm hearing here down on the ground, those might not be the only 3 charges that Conor McGregor is facing. I know that obviously there are several people that I just talked about that were involved in the fracas that were on that bus, but there are also several UFC employees who were also caught up in it. So this is, as I keep saying, it's very much a developing story here in Brooklyn, and we're going to be all over it. Unfortunately, what does this mean for Conor McGregor now? Now, it's very easy to say that he'll never fight again, and we don't actually know what the repercussions are going to be. Dana White, in the heat of the moment, is saying that he doesn't want to do business with Conor McGregor. But let's distance ourselves from the fight game and actually just look at Conor McGregor as a person. This is in 6 months where there have been many disappointments, and many times where he's let himself down, should we say, in public. This is probably the cherry on top of the cake. This is this isn't good. This is not good for him. This isn't good for the sport of mixed martial arts, and I can only pray that you know, we can disassociate ourselves from it. This is not what mixed martial arts is all about. This is not what the UFC is all about. So there we have it. There's my report from Brooklyn. As I said, very much a developing story, and we're expecting things to get a little bit more underway in the next few hours here. You just keep it locked to Independent Sport, where you'll probably be watching this video, and of course MMA.com, my website, and hopefully, well, I'll be chatting to you guys more later. But thanks.